we've been talking all this time and I don't have you like say who you are. Let everyone know who you are. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little about you. I could have started like, there.
Who am I? Who am I? Oh my goodness. I'm Dior Nelson, and my priestess or spiritual name is Amut Nabu Nefer Amenti. I've only been here since 2019. So that's it. I went to Whole Foods. It was the first time I was going. So I really didn't know what to expect. And I went in Scottsdale. My car was kind of on a hill and I didn't realize it. But anyway, I went and I enjoyed myself. And then I got ready to go. And I'm originally from Texas. You know, they always put ice packs in the bags, right, in the summertime. So I was like, I know Arizona's going to do it because they're even hotter than Texas.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. Y'all got to put ice packs in here. Can I have ice packs? And they said, oh, we're sorry. I got to drive all the way to Sun City in the heat and then get out there and my cart runs away. I was burning up.
Oh no.
Taking off. I was like, it is too hot out here for me to be chasing carts. I was exhausted. People were looking at me. I said, they know I'm new.
Right.
No doubt. And my thing is, I wanted to, in this age, and as I get older, it's just, a lot of people don't like Zoom. And I said, well, I'm pretty private. I don't like a lot of people in my house either.
Right.
Especially after everything that's been going on. So this is part of my socialization, believe it or not. So I was like, I'd rather see somebody face to face. And I'm old school. I like to look people in the eye.
Right.
And it's not, I just get a better feel of the energy, a better feel of them. Than just, I don't like texting. I'm like,
right. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that
down because I can't tell the tone and tenor. I need to see the face. I want to see how you really feel. And it's okay if it's not good. I just want to see it.
Just want to see it. Right.
Yeah. And then by the time I type and autocorrect, I would just rather pick up the phone. Let's get it over with. There's no misunderstanding. We don't go down the rabbit hole.
Right, exactly.
Let's just talk and get it over with.
Yeah. I like Zoom. I like that they came out with Zoom. I mean, we could video call on different apps before that, but I don't know, just the making the app for that and being able to just send the link and we both just join in there and we can just see each other. I don't know. I like it. I do. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, it has messed up my socialization skills though, because now I don't go out as much.
I noticed that yesterday. I met one of my students and friends at the mall to give her a t-shirt. And I said, well, you know, it's been a tough day. I'm just going to walk around.
Right.
Oh my God. I was like, this is crazy. I could not breathe. I was hot. My husband and I, we walked around the block, you know, stuff like that. And I was like, why am I having such a hard time? And my husband said, you got to get out of that chair in your office.
It's hard. My husband's always trying to make me leave the house. And I'm like, it's so people-y outside, you know, so that whole pandemic thing definitely changed us.
It changed a lot. And it is hard to get back out there.
It is.
And the craziness, people being on edge. I just, it's like, I don't want to deal with it. And we have some maniacs in my neighborhood.
Right. That's true.
Regardless of your political affiliation, because that shouldn't matter.
Right.
But these people are fanatics. It's like, oh my God, why do we have to call the other people names or, it's just that energy. But I'm like, I don't
Mhm,
like it.
mhm.
I don't care who you vote for, but that doesn't mean you have
Right.
to put other people down to make yourself feel
True.
better. That's the part I don't
True,
like.
true. And I like your energy. I see you on your Facebook. I seen you were on you went on some trips. You did some really exciting stuff. And I was like, oh, this person is so awesome. She is so amazing. And it looks like you're like, you're like me. You kind of like to be in your world and experience what you want to experience. And then you come back to like reality, quote unquote, and then you see people like that talking about others and using language. And I'll be stuck in my little bubble with spiritual people and my students and just people I want to interact with. And then I'll interact with someone else on the outside or somewhere else. And then I'll be like, oh, I forgot that this is still a thing. I forgot we still fighting over this stuff. I forgot there's still, all this diversion and stuff. You know what I mean? The vision.
Yeah,
Um,
I am trying
so
so hard to and I guess I shouldn't say it like that. But as I began to elevate consciousness into, it's like it doesn't affect me the same. I mean, I'm not
oh,
where I would like
sure.
to be,
Oh,
but I'm
yeah.
like, and I told myself, I was like, honestly, I don't care. And all of it is a distraction.
Yeah, exactly.
Our soul is energy. We have
Yeah.
energy. It has no sex, no color, it is everything,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
And I
Right.
said, so therefore, and it was like, but I have empathy because I've been there. And that's
Of
one
course.
thing too, I think spiritual people have to remember, including me, I'm talking to me, is that there was a time where I needed to find that self-worthiness and all of that. So
Mm,
I needed my blackness,
yes.
I needed to unfold the lies and but
I
now I'm
agree.
on the other side of that. And I can see, why are we
Yes.
debating? And why is this a thing? And it was like, but
Yeah.
I've been there. And
But it doesn't
I
start off like that, right? On your
exactly,
journey are just now coming out of like a trauma situation, a toxic relationship or something. At first you cry about it, you're upset, you can't believe this, you realize that you were victimizing yourself and you stayed somewhere you didn't belong. Okay. Then you get to the point where you get to be mad and that anger fuels you and it catapults your healing. You're mad at your ex, you're mad at the church, you're mad at the education system, you're mad at your parents. You get to be mad at all the things that all those things you were hidden from and so on and so forth. And then you get on your rah right, so you're up on your soapbox and you're rah against this and against that. And then like you said, then you get over that hump and then you're like, there are people too, they have their path as well. I kind of understand now where they were coming from. It wasn't necessarily what I would have done, but I see how that pain and hurt they were going through made them hurt others, and how the fear of losing control makes them make certain laws and certain pit people against each other because they will have to be in control. And you start to see it for, like you said, like deeper and for what it is.
I have that picture that you have in the back. I have a big one that
Which
is
one?
on my wall. The one to your left, the Sankofa, the earring with the multicolor.
Over here?
I have that.
This one? You
I have
do?
a big one. I have a big one in my dining room.
Oh, that's not. Where did you get it from? I think mine was a gift, and I don't know, it's about this big.
It was
This big. Mine is.
African Impressions, I think. They used to do
Oh,
art
yes.
shows at your home.
Yes. No, that's the name. You're
And that
right.
was
I
Hunter
remember that
Brown or
name.
whatever. That's where I bought it, and I had it framed. So I guess my
Yes.
frame is huge. So maybe that was.
Right.
So I have
Right.
a big picture of that exact one.
That's awesome.
And I
I
want to
got.
let you know before I forget. I think what you're doing is great, and because I was thinking, I said, there's really not a good place for teachers and healers once you get to a certain level to go to have that space to be okay and to expand, because sometimes it's hard with the students because they're learning and they're at a lower level, so they won't understand what you're going through.
Right.
And I don't even think we cherry pick. I think when the time is right,
Oh,
it
that's true.
resonates. And so that is part of our learning. And
Yes.
so now we're able to call upon those pieces. And I always say, when we talk about God, the higher selves, what meets us where we are, to me, that's what that means. Like, I have books that I was drawn to buy. And I look at it and I'm like, I don't want to read it right now. I'm not into that. And then something will happen. It may be a year, 2 years, 5 years down the line. And it was like, now it's time for you to get into this. And so it was like, wait a minute, I have a book on that, you know?
Right.
So I have gotten where now, and I was questioning that same thing. And I was like, you know, I sit in meditation and then things, you know, come to me and whatever. And it was like, well, where did I hear that from? Did I hear it from somewhere else? And I just remembered it, or was it really spirit? You know, so I go, because I tell my spiritual room family, you got to tell me 3 times because I have an ego. And I also can be, you know, oh, great idea. I'm that idea person and I'll run with it. And it was like, maybe they didn't want me to run that far. So I've been trying to contain that and go, just let me make sure it's what spirit wants me to do. And that's when I learned, I was like, patient. Spirit is just slow and deliberate. And I don't have to be in a hurry. And I got that with that corporate hat after 35 years. So
I like that. I like that. Let's get to our questions here. So number one, we've been talking all this time and I don't have you like say who you are. Let everyone know who you are. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little about you. I'm gonna start like, there.
Who am I? Oh my goodness. I'm Dior Nelson. And my priestess or spiritual name is Amut Nabu Nefer Amenti. And it's kind of in transition as well. But I became a Kemetic sacred sciences priestess. My initiation ceremony was in January of, is it this year or last year? Last year. No, what? This past January.
I'm almost forgetting now. Because I remember like being happy and seeing posts. Okay, so I'm like, I think it was this January. Okay.
Now I can't. That's how things have been going so fast. I always say I am a spiritual being in search of, I wouldn't say in search, but continuing to improve my spiritual maturation and enlightenment. That's really my whole focus in all that I do. Living in Arizona and getting ready to go, because we kind of snowbirds. Folks are now calling me Queen Mother, and I just realized that, whoa, wait a minute, I'm 60. So I'm considered an elder now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So we're snowbirds, sort of, but I think we're gonna kind of stop that after this year. But we have some space up in Michigan as well. And nice. I have bonus babies, but they're not babies, they're grown folks. A son is the eldest and a daughter. And I have a beautiful daughter-in-law and son-in-law. So, and grandbabies, but they're not babies anymore.
Either, not even the grandbabies.
I think the youngest is 15 now. I get her age mixed up because I still want to make her, when I took her to a tea party, I created a tea party for her. And I still put her in that box.
Right. Yep. I still do the same to my baby sister, and she's in her 30s, so that's okay. I just see her.
Yeah, I just see you as this. I'm like, ooh, you got parts, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's not giving me a headache.
Right. Well, thank you very much for that lovely introduction. Next question was, what is your current occupation and what is one thing you love about it?
Oh my goodness, occupation. That's always a tricky one. I do have a for-profit. I guess I should say I'm an entrepreneur, sorta. And I say sorta because I am on the way to really making the money. Right now, it's just been, you know, a little bit at a time. It pays for itself, but it's not costing me anything, but I'm not making anything, but that's changing. And that is Soul Sojourner. It is the pathway to healing the unconscious mind, as well as what's coming soon is I will be adding the death doula part to that.
Nice.
It's all about the soul for me.
Yeah.
My guiding spiritual mother, of whatever we want. So many people have so many different names. But my guide during my priesthood was Nebahet. And so all through my experiences, I have been doing mediumship. I took a break, kind of, I think like a lot of people have had their stories. As a little girl, I go, why is everybody crying? Because he's standing right there. He wasn't in the casket. He was like, and then the family goes, don't tell anybody that.
Did you see that
crazy
right?
or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, but there he goes. He's walking that way.
Yes.
So I had a period where I didn't embrace it, but now I have come full circle and truly embracing the gifts that I was given. I also have a nonprofit recently during my priesthood initiation. They told me my next, when I say they, and I'm talking about spiritual room family, and I call it a whole my spirit team.
Yes. Okay.
Ancestors,
That's what I
guides,
call the spirit
the
team.
whole
Okay.
crew.
Yes,
As they
ma'am.
used to tell me, they say you have a choir with you. I say, yeah. And they've been telling me that since I was a little girl. So I say it takes too much time for me to divide. This is my angel, and this is my whole crew.
Yeah.
They said do a nonprofit, and I was like, I told you I was a little hard headed earlier, and I said,
Right.
That's I don't know. You got to find people to be on the board. You got to do the. I don't know. I don't really. I'm not there. And so I made a pilgrimage to Ghana. And that is my ancestral lineage on my paternal side. So it was a fabulous trip. But long story short, when I got there, and the lineage is the Ga clan or the Ga family of people. And I didn't even think about it, but a gentleman said with me, and he says, I really like the way that you carry yourself and how you've handled folks here. And that, again, you never know who's watching. And I always say, who are you when no one's watching?
That's true.
And he said, well, we need help with the women here. And it wasn't, and I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, and then I told him about my classes and all this stuff. And he's like, okay, let's get something together. So before I could get back good, my WhatsApp was blowing up. And so I said, okay, all right, I hear you. I'm going to get this nonprofit. But it was before then. And I just said, okay, I gave my pitch thinking that they were just going to sign me up. And I gave them a big discount. Let's make this happen. And then they said, well, we don't have any money, but we want you to do it. And I was like, okay, I hear you. I got to get my own nonprofit and get that going. And so I have a nonprofit, Soul Sojourner Wisdom Teachings. And that also there's essentially rites of passage and nutritional kinds of programs that we're doing to do with assessment centers, as well as group homes. We're just getting started. So I've done a couple of pitches to a couple of assessment centers, and I have brought on a clinical director who is a psychologist. So we, it's just an exciting time, but it's in its infancy.
Yes.
It's in its infancy. but I'm excited about it. And
I bet.
so those are the two companies. When I talk about career, those are the two things that are priorities. What I love about it most is that, you know, when we do make a decision to follow spirit, to follow our soul's purpose, it's fulfilling, because even though I haven't achieved the monetary victory yet, you notice I said yet.
Right. It's coming.
It's fulfilling because I'm still helping others, but it
Yes.
also helps me stay focused with my own spiritual practice.
Yes.
And not get as distracted, because now I can't afford to be distracted. I have to be that for them. And they often say, we teach what we need. And so
Yes,
that's yep. So that's kind of where I am.
I love it. It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Are you teaching and training on your profit side, or like the
yes.
program that you have?
Yes. My spiritual rim family, again, COVID was a beautiful thing. It made me just go within, and they provided me a meditation system. And it's the way that it's taught, and it has a lot to do with our Kemetic history, Kemetic sacred sciences, but the Kemites and our ancient ancestors. So it's 3 pillars, and the first pillar is about the breath. The second one mainly is about purification and focus. And then the third, we kind of go up more in wholeness. I call it a essence of life, essence of vitality, and then essence of wholeness. And that wholeness, we get into we get into the sacred anatomy. How is our energy field made up? What is our soul? All of those things. And I get, because I'm also a registered medical assistant, it gets very, anatomy, physiology, psychology. So we get down to the nuts and bolts, because we need to know how it all works together. So we get into learning the 9 bodies of enlightenment, or the 9 bodies of the spirit, as well as sacred geometry. So we get a little to all of that. So it's about a year-long program. But what it has done is, this is exciting news.
Okay. I'm already excited. I got goosebumps just hearing all about this program.
They also gave me the formulas for teas to support the meditation journey for each pillar.
Beautiful.
Well, in that, I also learned there were, just like when they created penicillin, it was an accident, because they were doing, people called and told me, hey, that essence of vitality, it worked great for my COVID. And I was like, COVID? Where is that coming from? And I learned it was like, even when I get anxious or get depressed and I have this great presentation to do, or I have a meeting to attend to, I drink that essence of life tea, and it just calms me down. I'm able to deal with it. And I was like, I was really focused on how it's going to help me learn to do breath work, how it's going to help me relax. That's where they were telling me, but I had so many of these other avenues that it just became, I was like, okay, y'all, okay. And they were like, it's something about that tea. And they just kept saying something about that tea. Well, now it's FDA approved.
That's amazing. Oh, see, more goosebumps. Oh, it's amazing.
Yes. And I did that because we're going to be working with the allopathic teams in my projects. So I don't want any mess about, it's hoodoo stuff, or this, that. It's FDA approved, non-GMO, vegan, 100% organic, And I'm just excited about it. And I just picked it up from the manufacturer yesterday.
Oh,
So
wow.
now I'm getting ready to put it out to the world. So that
Yes,
was
yes.
exciting news.
Yes, I love it. Oh my goodness, I love it, sis. That's amazing. Ooh, and I just got goosebumps on top of goosebumps about it. That's amazing.
I'm
Yeah, I hope
excited.
you're ready because you're talking about the money isn't there yet. You're about to blow up. So I hope that you got everything in a row. So when it starts coming and flooding, the business starts flooding through your doors, you're ready for it. Because I see it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, beautiful,
Well, thank
beautiful.
you. And I say that because I also do meditation cushion. So anything to support meditation, and a lot of people mix meditation and meditation is part of yoga, but they just automatically think yoga first and then breathing
Right.
into those poses. And I was like, no, this is true meditation. No extra movements. Yes, there's mudras and there's hesis or chanting, hekai, words of power. We do those things, but it's focused on that relationship with you. And
Yes.
that's what the whole, because I guess in all of my classes as well, it made sense to me because everybody makes an assumption that we know how to do these things. And nobody wants to say, how do you do that? So I don't think people are getting the full focus, and they're still saying, well, I don't like meditation because I can't keep my mind. That's not what it's all about. So I just think it's a good thing because some people say, oh, you're teaching meditation. Okay. Like, who isn't teaching meditation? I was like, but this is special because this is for the trauma, because it's also bathed in certain therapy techniques to deal with trauma in the unconscious mind, which is where all of our ancestral generational trauma resides.
Right.
We're letting that go, not to go back and stay or get mad at people, but it's to free us in order for us to continue to elevate to higher consciousness, that Christ consciousness. So anyway, I get off that. I get excited about that. I'll shut up now.
That's okay. That's okay. It's amazing. I love it. I love it. We definitely access the subconscious and do lots of generational healing and DNA healing and all of that going back, in shamanism. And then I also have, the energy work and the shamanic Reiki, but I've really, really been wanting to take for something formal for breath work. So I'm just letting y'all know now, y'all hearing all of this and y'all see all this excitement over my face. Do not be surprised if y'all see me coming back telling y'all how I graduated from Dior's program. Okay, so just put it out there because I know y'all saying, look at her. Yeah, yes, the answer is yes. I'm confirming that for you. I'm about to look all of that up. Okay. I'm super excited.
Because it is all about quantum healing. And so in teaching that and understanding what quantum healing is.
Right.
So it's all of those things.
Right. We're all students for life. I got, lots of things I learned, but I'm always looking for new things to learn. And the fact that you have it from a comedic approach just makes me so happy. And I'm like, I'm going to take this. I'm so good. Now I know why Spirit went ahead and put you in that spinner and picked you this month for me to highlight this month. Cause I'm like, oh, okay. So fun question here. What was the last book you read or any book that you've read that you would recommend?
Journey of Souls by Michael Newton, I think his last name is. I really enjoyed that book. It is written because he's a psychologist. So he does hypnotherapy and working with people, really, when he talked about reincarnation. So it gets into what does the soul do? And it was a sampling where he actually did this to several people, and he put in the book the ones that had similar answers or the same answers, even though they didn't know each other or hadn't, and so it made it really entertaining. And I say not just entertaining, that's the wrong word I'm using. It was confirmation for me because I had my spiritual rebirth, resurrection, in 1996. And I had no one to share. And I was all in the church. I
Right.
mean, deep in the church.
Yes, ma'am.
Bible
Yes.
thumping in the church, officer of
Yes.
the church, bringing in the sheaves in the church. And I ended up with a pituitary tumor. And at that time, I was like, you know, I went to a revival, and something struck me, because all of the preachers always said I went into my prayer closet and I didn't come out until Jesus told me da 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 da. And I said, well, I'm not a preacher, but why wouldn't Jesus answer me?
Right.
So I was in my 30-ish, in my 30s. I'm 60 now, so it's all good. I was in my 30s. And so I said, you know what? After I went to all the specialists and everything, it was very scary. You know, I'm gonna break your nose, go up your nose, and it's in your brain. I mean, you're not going to be able to have children. You know, all of these things just came flooding in. So I went through all of the grieving processes, depression, and all of that. And finally said, you know what? I'm going for answers, and I'm not going to let up until I see Jesus.
Right.
And so prayed, fast, kind of shut myself off, prayed, fast, exercised, started eating better, all of those things, which I knew nothing about. I didn't know anything about all of this metaphysical. I don't even think I had used the word metaphysics.
Right.
Or anything like that. I was
Right.
like, you know, it was just Jesus and Jesus only, and going to church on Sunday and every day during the week. So, and then I began to be okay. And you talk about the dying process, you become accepting. So I would have said, I've done the best that I could. I'm okay. And I got to that point, and we talk about letting go of attachments or detachments. And I said, well, if this is my time, this is my time. And I began to meditate it, you know, because we use the word in church, but I really didn't know what that was. Yes, I read, right, and I did. So I started buying, yes, cassettes. I'm aging myself. Cassettes.
Right.
Of guided meditation. And,
yes.
and I just did it. And then one night, my higher self, I can say that now, then I called it Jesus. I don't think it matters what you call. Reached into my chest. And anything that was left residue from pain that I had gone through, I had dealt with the inner child, didn't know what that was, but that cassette tape helped me. And I actually saw the person. And when I say saw the person, you see it, but I can't really describe it, but it reached into my heart and pulled junk out, pulled it out, and then turned around and laid down within me.
Wow.
I actually channeled my higher self for 6 months. I astral traveled, didn't know what it was. I only stopped because I messed around and told one of my church sisters that I thought would understand, and then she put fear in me.
Right.
So I stopped.
But
I was able to see things, see that journey, to have answers to questions, that I was no longer fearful, but I finally saw with spiritual eyes. And it was an amazing thing. It was my first understanding that what we call holograms.
Right.
But to see what you would normally see, have to use a microscope to see. Yes. I saw just walking down the street, you know, with, yes. And it was just an amazing, loving experience. And I have been in search for that again And I think that's been part of my reason why it's been blocked, because it's not about me and my feeling. It's about those that I helped when I was in that state.
That's true.
I understood what they said if they could just touch the hem of his garment. Because people would just come to me. I don't care where I went. People would just come. Those that were in pain came.
Yes, ma'am.
And shared and did. And it was satisfying. People would just confess. People that were jealous that would come to me and say, you know, I was coming in here to really do this, but I have to tell you, I didn't mean you any good. And I was like, why are you sharing? So why are you just
right?
You know, and then they were talking about it, and I got demons in the car, but they can't come in your house. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Why are you telling me that? But it taught me a couple of things. When you are one with everything, all of this spooky stuff and something's after you, again, to me, it's a distraction, because no one's more powerful than you are, than your soul is when you're in that state. Nothing can touch you. Yes. And so that's my biggest issue with a lot of spiritual systems and other things. We wanted, you know, got a spell for that, got to do this, and it got me under the spell, all of that. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Because you the focus on the God within, that divinity.
Right.
Nothing can cause you harm.
And very true.
I had to learn that. And I'm sorry, I kind of went on with that, but
that's okay. Oh, that was okay. That was captivating. I think everybody that watches this replay is going to feel the same way. Just, you had us, we were just, at the edge of our seats. That was beautiful. That was beautiful and amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. What an amazing and powerful experiences. Seriously. Let's go with the next question. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. All right. What is a fun fact? Okay, one more time. Sorry. The book, though, was called
Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. I think.
By Michael. Okay, I'll look it up and make sure that was the last name, and I'll put it in the comments. All right. And what is a fun fact
Michael
about
Newton,
you?
That's it.
Newton. Okay. All right. Awesome. What is a fun fact about you that the other members might not know?
I used to be an athlete.
Really?
I played USVBA volleyball until I was 35, 36. And when I was in high school, I played volleyball, ran track, all of those things that were there. But yeah, volleyball was my love. It still is my love. It's hard for me to watch it because I want to go play, but I got back issues and I can't jump anymore.
Right. I think some of us can relate to that. That's how I feel when I see dancers. I see them all over the stage and bendy and flexible and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, no, thank you. That's not happening. Okay. Next question is, what is one area of your life that you're currently expanding on? And you told us about a lot of projects, but is there like one in particular that you would consider that is an area of your life that you're expanding on?
Oh, it's still everything. And I think I'm going to that next level with the things that I eat, ingest. Because not only for health reasons, but as you begin to elevate, your body changes. And understanding what you can eat, how you can eat, what your body needs, and especially going through my wise woman transition. That's another thing in there. So alkaline, even though my spiritual realm family tells me that to eat fish, even now fish is becoming bad as well, and they're I guess cloning or not cloning, but I guess it's kind of cloning fish as well as the chicken and all that. But at this point they had told me fish and vegetables. So I've been doing that, but I've been doing alkaline, and I'm going to tell you some saving grace. There are some alkaline spice herb folks out there that you can order stuff from, because that was my biggest thing. It takes me too much time to figure out which spices I can use and which ones I can't. Well, there is a couple of sisters out there and their spouses or whatever that are doing a fabulous job, and I just ordered everything. So I've got I've got all kind of spices. I've got seasoning salt and jerk seasoning and marinade and onion and herbs, and I can trust that it's all alkaline by Dr. Sebi's. So that has been a saving grace. And even one, I think both of them have some stuff, condiments. I mean, I'm just like in heaven 7. The thing about the condiments is a little harder because you only have about 14 days, and it depends on how fast it gets to you. And I love cooking, but when you have to make everything from the ketchup, the sauce.
I was about to say, a diet is what healed me out of a wheelchair when I was young, and changing to like an alkaline diet. And my mom, we went to some healer women, 3 healer women healed me. So my body was all mangled and stuck in a wheelchair. They put me in a body cast, and I had to be lifted to do anything. Someone had to lift me to use the restroom and lift me to the bed. Within 1 week after implementing the thing these 3 women did for us, I was able to walk on my own just after 7 days. So I'm a very, very big believer, but I do remember my mom had to buy a hand blender, and she was making ketchup from scratch and mayo from scratch and everything, like down to, like you said, to every ingredient. We had to know what it was, and it had to be made homemade. And so I'm getting back into that now too. I come in and out of it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the most obedient about it, but I really am at that time again in my life where I'm like, okay, it's time to go into that and just make it a life change, just make it a whole part of my life.
It's been the same for me because I teach it, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. But as healers, we're also human. And we also have our own traumas and issues that we know, and we're working on it, but it still takes time. And my thing was, the last year I had to go get my mom. She has dementia. We're trying to see if it's Alzheimer's or dementia. And we have a contentious relationship, but I had to get, it's a whole thing. So I'm an emotional eater. So the last 12 months have been hard for me and my husband because I was trying to care for her, and I would just go get something, fast food, that kind of stuff. And that is not any good. And I've got to really do that. I've got to commit to it. And even though I detox, this is the first year that I've had blood work that wasn't perfect. So that's what I'm more concerned about, more so than my weight, even though I know my weight is affecting my structure. And arthritis, it's hurt, I'm talking about being winded going to the mall. And being stiff, you cannot stop moving. So anybody out here that's young or getting old, just wait. You're not going to be that flexible forever, but never stop. Because when you stop, it's harder to come back, and you'll need it more at 60 than you really do at 20. So just keep it up.
Good advice, sis. Good advice. Okay, and the last question here, which is one of my favorites, is if you could give any advice to your 20-year-old self, what would it be?
Patience, but embrace your gifts. Embrace your gifts. Don't let other people turn you against yourself. And that is the thing, because even though we say things are done in divine time, I think that would have also been, that was the lesson I guess I had learned or had to learn. That you can't please everybody. because all of the choices at that age was because this is what the family expects you to do.
True. Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, and we're afraid to get out of that. And the thing is, your family, they truly love you. They're going to love you regardless, but you can't waver. You have to be strong in your conviction of what you want, and they will respect it. And I was afraid that that wouldn't happen. So I stayed in the cocoon and then just kind of ran. I ran from Waco to Dallas, from Dallas to New Jersey, trying to run from the pressure so I could finally find out who I am. And so that's what I would tell my 20-year-olds.
Beautiful, beautiful. I know some people that probably could use that advice themselves. So yes, that's lovely. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry I kept you chatting here all this time, so I hope I didn't take up too much of your time, but I really appreciate you joining me and deciding to do it via Zoom. It was much, better experience, more transformative. I feel like I'm so happy I got to meet with you face to face. So thank you so much for meeting with me.
Oh, thank you. And the feeling is mutual. I am so glad we had this opportunity to talk one-on-one and to get to know each other. And this will not be the last time. And I look so forward to getting to know you even better. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're welcome.